time's our convention start on Wednesday? Do we have meetings? You're on the executive board. So we're live. Oh, never mind. That's okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, will you check the participants and see if Lauren's on?
I do not see Lauren.
Okay,
I know, I went down.
you don't see her?
See Jeff.
Only Jeff? Well, we got a quorum then.
Let's see. Roy or.
All right. Ready? Hey, good evening. I'd like to call to order this Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners meeting for the Sweetwater County Intergovernmental Joint Leadership Meeting. And we do have a quorum present, one by Zoom, Commissioner Smith, and two commissioners here in the chamber. We have two commissioners, or one commissioner excused, the other commissioner may join us late. So with that, we do have a quorum present. Would you please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving forward, the first thing we'll do is I'll ask for a motion to suspend Robert's rules. For me, Commissioner, please.
I so moved.
We have a commissioner, motion by Commissioner Toman to suspend Robert's rules. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. Now we'll go and check and see who's here. Is the representation from Rock Springs City Council, Mayor Como, are you present?
Mr. Chairman, yes, we're present. It looks like from what I see so far, we have councilors West, Hickerson, Robinson, and Demus, and myself. So we do have a quorum, and I don't see others on here, but we do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor and council
Good evening.
members. Also, do we have representation from Green River City Council? Mayor Rust?
Yes, we do. I'm on, and also Reed Clevenger's on.
Very good. Well, good evening and welcome. We appreciate you guys being here. With that, do we have representation from Wamsutter?
Yes, this is Joe Erickson, Mayor Wamsutter, and I have myself, and so far I see Councilperson Wood and Councilperson and Fire Chief Davis.
Thank you very much. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, Mayor and council members. How about Bear Oil? Superior, Town of Superior. And Town of Granger. Thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. Just to review the agenda quick, like it's committee updates, and then a new topic, which is evaluate consolidated health insurance. And we have Mr. McLean, the Sweetwater County Human Resource Director here to talk about the county's process if we were to incorporate or include outside entities into insurance, governmental entities. So he'll talk about that. Mayors, is there anything else you wish to put on for other?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor Rust. Mayor Como?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. And then, of course, at the end, we'll request items for our next meeting as well, schedule next meeting. So first up, we just have a few committees to report out. First one is ambulance. Do we have a representative from ambulance that would like to report out if there is anything to change?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Smith.
We have not met as a committee. We are awaiting the budget process from both cities to see how things are going there and if there's an ability from their side to participate in the funding. And so really that's kind of what we're doing right now. They're working through their budget process as we are starting to, and that will be our move after that, after we get through budgets, to see where things stand and what participation level everybody what level everybody can participate in. So really just kind of waiting right now, and we'll go through the regular budget process.
All right, holding waiting. So with that, I do want to open the floor if there's any questions for Commissioner Smith or anybody else on the ambulance committee. Anybody have questions? Thank you. Moving on, special purpose tax, 6 penny. I know Commissioner Lloyd's excused. Did Commissioner Shanefield get on yet? Don't see her. So therefore, is there anybody that'd like to report on 6 penny? I will say this much, that it's on the agenda tomorrow for the county to address 6 penny, and I believe to set a range for the 6 penny. So I do know that's on the commissioner's agenda tomorrow. So would anybody else like to share anything from the cities or towns?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Mayor.
I'm going to turn this over to Councilor West. He can kind of give you an update on where our group is. Keaton, is that okay?
Yeah, you bet. As far as the
Thank you,
committee
Mayor.
goes, go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, I just wanted to say thanks and welcome you, Keaton, for coming on and bringing us this date, or this update. So thank you. So go ahead, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as far as the committee goes, we have not met since we last spoke on this topic. I think everyone was waiting for feedback from the commission. On behalf of Rock Springs, I can tell you we had a workshop last week to kind of determine where we are at with the tax and the initiative and what we feel as a governing body we would be comfortable with. And there was a general consensus that Rock Springs feels as though a 5 to 6 year tax would be something they could be comfortable with. So obviously a lot goes into that as far as the, what kind of monthly revenue the tax would be bringing in. We figured about 1.2 million based off discussions with our city clerk. I believe he's been speaking with Mr. Slaughter a little bit on that end as well. That 5 to 6 range, I think 6 years puts that at about 86,500,000. So that's kind of where we're at. We do have a list that I did email to Commissioner Lloyd and Shanefield last week. Didn't hear anything back there, but I assume they're in discussions in preparation for tomorrow. But it's just a tentative list of some of the projects and priorities that we had both last year and some minor changes this year, just kind of going into waiting for some direction on your guys' end. So that's about all.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman West. Any questions for Councilman West that's out there? Councilman West, I have a question for you. When you based your 5 to 6 year on the sales tax, you said you based it on 1.2. Is that of our previous sales tax coming in by the county? Because we're kind of in a lull right now, or a low end. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe a year ago we were figuring about 1.5 million.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
More recent date, we're figuring about 1.2. We also ran it for 1.1 in those figures, which is what I emailed to the commissioners on the committee, but Rob would have more information on that.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll look forward to hearing what Commissioner Lloyd and Commissioner Shanefield have tomorrow, and we'll get her done for everybody. Thank you. Any other questions for Councilman West with 6 penny? Keaton, let your committee know that we really appreciate the work they've been doing on this. Thank you. Next up will be centralized purchasing. And I believe for that report, we will look to to Commissioner Toman, as Councilwoman Bushman is not available. Commissioner Toman.
Yes, the committee met and They are going to let bids between May 14th and June 14th for toilet tissue, garbage bags, and latex gloves. And I believe Mayor Como had asked that we also do another bid for copy paper. So Marty and the committee is working on the next bid while we're waiting for the results on this one.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anybody have any questions for Commissioner Toman regarding the purchasing? Okay, thank you very much. And Commissioner Toman, let your committee know, and Marty, we appreciate everything they're doing. I think as they get things ironed out, I think we'll see more and more opportunities with more and more items being addressed and purchased through that. So,
We're not sure how this bid will go right now though, because of the fluctuating pricing. So we don't even know if we'll get any bids, but
yeah,
Marty has done due diligence and has gotten it out.
thank you very much. Okay, with that, we'll go to Recreation. Mayor Russ, do you have anything to report on that?
I do not.
Very good. We'll be having another meeting here in June, and just to share, I think of the thing that I saw come out today regarding the collaborative for the Sweetwater County Collaborative Outdoor Recreation Collaborative. They would be beginning to start to look at possible projects, get a list together, and then start looking at ones that possibly could be done in a fashion that's beneficial but quick. So it'll be exciting to see what happens at that next meeting coming up, hopefully in June. So thank you, Mayor. With that, concludes our committee reports. Is there any committee out there I missed that would like to report? Okay, with that, next up will be our one of the things that was brought at the last meeting is to evaluate consolidating health insurance topic. So I invited Mr. McLean, Rock Springs, or I'm sorry, Sweetwater County HR Director, and Gary's been talking about this for a number of years, ever since I've been a commissioner, and he's followed through, and I truly believe he's found a process that can be used to determine moving forward if outside entity, i.e. whether it's outside agency or a other governmental unit wish to look into being a partner within the county health insurance. As you know, our health insurance is self-funded, and it's probably, I would say, one of the better insurance programs that there is for self-funding throughout the state. So without saying any more, I would invite Mr. McLean up to the microphone, if you would please, and please present the process and what he can do to help the rest of us. Good evening, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. That wasn't a bomb. That was just thunder. So we're not under attack. Yeah, so for some time, I think there's been a lot of discussion whether there were advantages or maybe advantages to creating larger health insurance entities. So some of the common benefits, obviously, when you have larger groups, just like you do with investing, you take some of the peaks and valleys out of the performance of the insurance group, making it a little more predictable from year to year. Ultimately, the question of whether combining groups is financially beneficial or not is really an actuarial decision. And every group has different performance characteristics for one reason. Sometimes their ages are older, younger. Some groups are sicker than others. But the process is relatively straightforward. And if we want to evaluate that question, it's straightforward. I talked with Diversified, our insurance consultants in Salt Lake. They work with a actuary there, and we would simply provide data from the various plans, say from the cities and the county. They would provide that data to an actuary. The actuary would provide a report they would come back and report to us on what that would mean if we were functioning as a larger group. The process really is not that time consuming. If we were to start today, we could be back in 2 to 3 weeks with a presentation for the group. From my standpoint, I think it's something that's been discussed. I think everybody's looking at making sure we've turned over every stone. And as it would not cost us anything to do this, I would recommend that we move ahead with that and try to evaluate, get some data, let them present. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense, and then we move on to the next thing. If it does, then we could delve a little deeper into what would be necessary to make that happen. As you know, we've added on a number of component units. We have 11 separate entities that are part of the insurance program today. Adding another one or incorporating another one is not administratively that big of issue. Ultimately, the question is, does it make sense financially for the entities? Is there some benefit? And really the only way to determine that is by having an actuary look at the data and evaluate those options. From a more esoteric standpoint, there's some benefits, like for example, going out to bid for stop loss insurance. We would effectively double the size of the group. That would give us a different market for stop loss insurance. We would also be large enough to perhaps negotiate with certain vendors, favorable pricing arrangements, and perhaps lower some costs through that process. That could include the University of Utah or Memorial Hospital or other local area providers. And so I think those are some of the ways we could save. But again, ultimately, the process would be to get the data. We'd be looking at maybe a year at a minimum. Probably 2 years is better. 3 years would be ideal. And send the data in an electronic file, get all the legal paperwork, and let the actuaries analyze it and come back and report to this group. So I'd be happy to coordinate and orchestrate that if that's something the group would like to look at. I think it's been talked about at various times since I've been here. I think it's worth getting off the table, and then we kind of know. There's probably some legal issues in terms of having 3 legal entities, separate entities, and how that would happen. But again, I don't think it makes sense to do that unless there's the potential for financial benefit or improved health insurance or other things that would benefit each of the entities. So if it looks like that was doable, then we could dig down a little deeper and move through some of the legal challenges if that were desirable. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward process. And so we'd be happy to get underway if the parties would like to do it. And I'd entertain any questions if there are any at this time.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Members out there, questions for Mr. McLean regarding this endeavor? Mayor Rust, anything? Or even, I would say, how about Reed Clevenger, your public administrator?
Yeah, thanks, Joan. I think the best situation would be to get Gary and our folks together on something like that. So, I mean, I approached the subject with the RHR director here, and they're pretty happy with their plan, and not having a self-funded one, and us doing the Blue Cross Blue Shield and the larger group. I mean, in fact, we barely got an increase this year. I know just from the size of our plan. So, but I think it'd be good to get together just to go through the complete details of what it might look like, and I've let them know that we would be setting that up.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Clevenger. Mayor Como, your thoughts?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, discussion with Matt McBurnett about this. Every one of these entities are going to be a different situation, and I think the questions that are going to be asked are probably solely the plan that we're all using at this point. So I think it's best that maybe Matt reach out to Gary, find out what's required to go through the review. You're also tied and obligated by contract, union contracts and the like. So there's just a lot to this. And I think it doesn't cost anything to look into it, but it'd take quite a bit to make a change at this point. But I'm going to leave that up to Mr. McBurnett to reach out to Gary and see whether it's even worthwhile to go through the review based on the requirements we have with our current contracts.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. So if those city, gee, a lot of thunder going on over here. Probably thought we were in Israel or something. Anyhow, with that, we'll have your people reach out to Mr. McLean and they can have the conversations. But it was a topic put on the table, and I think it was well worth having the conversation and finding out what the process is to at least investigate it. So is there any other questions for Gary out there? Okay, with that, thank you, Mr. McLean. Appreciate you coming in and taking care of that. Okay, mayors or anybody out there, anything under other, and that includes any of the membership that's on the call or on the meeting tonight? Anything under other?
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor.
Nothing from Rock Springs, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Joe, out there in Wamsutter?
And nothing from here. Nothing's really changed on our end since the last meeting. So,
All right, and you guys understand we're working through the 6 penny now, of course.
yes, sir. Yep.
Very good. All right, so with that, let's talk about our next meeting. Mayors or council members or commissioners, items for the next meeting other than possibly review the committees that are active? Any special topic? Any special topic?
Unless, Mr. Chairman, something comes from a counselor of Rock Springs that I'm unaware of. I see no other topics coming forth from the city of Rock Springs.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, unless we have something, we can always schedule a meeting, then have a special meeting if mayors or council members or anybody says, hey, we got to get together as a group of 3 to have a conversation to decide a direction on something. And that could very easily happen. Because I'll just say this, I know there's question out about ambulance, but and that type of thing, but if it by chance happens to continue down the same path, I think we'll have to all get together and find out what an option is to work together. And that would be a special meeting for the councils and the commission, because I'm sure whatever may occur out of that planning may involve some action, and I would hate anybody to miss anything. So if that's the only topic at this point in time, I could see special purpose, maybe having a special meeting as well if necessary. So with that in mind, I would like to suggest start going to a quarterly meeting if everybody's agreeable, or bi-monthly. But I don't know if we need to meet every month unless somebody feels differently. I'll leave the floor open and let leadership kind of guide us. Thank you. First of all, mayors, what do you think? Quarterly or bi-monthly?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mayor.
I think in the short term, we still need a monthly meeting, because I think we really need to resolve the 6 penny and the ambulance and some of those other issues.
Very good.
Just my opinion.
No, it's what we need to hear, because I'm willing to do whatever the council mayors would like to do. I'm willing to make it happen on my part. So, Tim, your thoughts as mayor for Rock Springs?
Well, I know we all would like to have more meetings.
Sure.
We have a very good 6 penny a committee that's going to be doing some work from here on out, and hopefully all the communities are trying to get their list together, and we'll see what comes about from the commissioners' upcoming meeting on cap and term. But we're going to also be receiving hopefully updates from that committee at each one of our council meetings. So I'd be open for maybe every couple of months. I don't know that we need monthly. The other items, purchasing, they're doing, continuing to meet, but seems to be moving fairly well. Recreation, the same. And I don't know that I feel we need a monthly meeting.
You feel we do not, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I don't believe we need monthly meetings either, other than all of what Tim just said in terms of and what you've talked about. What happens at your meeting tomorrow is going to have a lot to do with obviously what happens with the 6 penny, and I think there may be some interaction that's needed by the communities with that. After that gets resolved, we absolutely, it'll be turned over to the 6 penny committee, and it doesn't need to be done monthly. And you can see from the participation, all the other committees, we certainly don't need those to be done monthly either.
No.
I also do think that recreation project, if we really get down to it, and we're into selecting a project or two for the county, that might require some more immediate action. But when I say monthly, I'm only talking about just really reacting to whatever happens at your meeting Tuesday, mostly.
So, okay. Tim, your thoughts there?
I agree. I think what we're going to end up turning into here is maybe even a quarterly meeting for this group. But once the committees get together after the commissioner's decision and find out where we all sit and what the criteria is going to be, I'm sure Councillor West and his group are going to be getting together at least monthly and trying to fine tune a plan for us to make this campaign work.
Okay. So what would you, Mayor, suggest as a date for the next meeting?
How about August 26th, 25th? In there,
From now till the end of August?
that's what I think. Just my thoughts.
Mayor Rust?
That seems like a long time to me, but we can, again, I think depending upon what happens in the discussion, whatever occurs after tomorrow, we can certainly change the meeting date to whatever date that we determine is necessary.
Let's set our next meeting date as August 25th and as a general meeting with the idea that everybody knows that at any point in time, leadership can call a special meeting based on the needs of those committees. Does that make sense?
It's fine with me.
Pardon?
That sounds great.
You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. So we'll do that. We'll schedule August 25th, but we know there will be a special meeting called, and it could deal with any one of the top priority projects that we have got going. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. So 5:30, that type of thing. Okay. With that, anything else come before this group? Anything at all? just want to tell everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for sticking with us and trying to make this as productive as we can for all of us. And as you start out your summer and continue to work, please be safe out there and stay well. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Toman made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.